Hello and welcome, students of Europe Hotel School. In the world of hospitality, opening a new property, that's the ultimate test of your skills. But long before the first guest walks through the door, there's a single moment, a critical point, that really defines whether you'll succeed or fail. Today, we're going to dive deep into that exact moment, finalizing the pre-opening budget. So, here's our game plan. We're going to walk through this in 5 key stages. First, we'll talk about your new role as a financial gatekeeper. Then, we'll get into the nitty-gritty of the budget itself. After that, we'll look at the practical tools for tracking every dollar, cover the final reporting phase, and wrap up with what it all means for you as a leader. Now, this quote right here, this is the absolute core of our entire discussion today. As you get closer and closer to opening day, your job completely transforms. You have to pivot. You go from being the creative, visionary planner to being the tough, realistic financial gatekeeper who safeguards the project's bottom line. All right, so let's really dig into this role. I want you to think of this phase as the financial capstone of all your hard work. Every single menu you've designed, every piece of furniture you've chosen, it all now has to face the ultimate test. Does it fit in the approved budget? And here's the bottom line, right? A brilliant 5-star concept is totally worthless if it's not financially viable. Your number one job now is to prove that your plan works on paper in that budget before a single guest ever arrives. This is how you build a business that lasts, on a rock-solid foundation. So, to be a really effective gatekeeper, you've got to speak the language of finance. And that all starts with decoding the budget itself. You need to understand the 2 main ways you're going to be spending money, CapEx and OpEx. The difference between these 2 is simple, but it is absolutely critical. Think of capital expenditures, or CapEx, as the bones of your operation. These are the big, one-time investments that will last for years. Operating expenditures, or OpEx, well, that's the cost of bringing those bones to life before you have any money coming in the door. So, CapEx covers all your big-ticket items. We're talking about those heavy-duty combi ovens, massive walk-in refrigerators, and all the tables and chairs for the dining room. It even includes that first huge purchase of china, silverware, and glassware. These are the assets that are going to serve your operation for a long, long time. Now, on the flip side, you have your operating expenditures. Notice a theme here. These are costs all about preparation and people. Things like paying your management team before you even open, their training and travel expenses, and that very first order of food and wine. That all falls under OpEx. Okay, let's zoom in on pre-opening payroll for a second, because honestly, this is where budgets often go completely off the rails. The key here is precision. You can't just hire people whenever. You have to align your hiring schedule perfectly with the project's critical timeline, bringing key managers on board just in time. Otherwise, you're just burning through cash before you've even made a single euro. Okay, so we understand the budget's moving parts. Now, how do you actually maintain control? Well, this part requires some serious discipline and using the right tools to track every single dollar that goes out the door. The absolute cornerstone of your financial control is a detailed tracking log, just like this one. Look, it's not complicated, but it is 100% non-negotiable. For every single CapEx item, you have to track the approved budget right next to the actual final cost, and you better have that purchase order number in there for a clear audit trail. But what happens when things change? Because they always do, right? This is where having a formal change order process is so critical. It forces you to stop, document the change, justify why you need it, and get formal approval before any money is spent. This process is your number one defense against what we call budget creep, where tiny, unapproved changes slowly sink your entire financial plan. And that brings us to the final phase. All of your meticulous tracking, all of your control measures, it all comes together now in a formal report where you present your findings and flag any last-minute financial risks. This document, the final variance report, this is your moment of truth. Its whole purpose is to clearly and honestly show every single deviation, whether it's a savings or an overspend, from the budget that was originally approved. This is the ultimate tool for accountability. Now, I want you to think about this for a moment. With everything we've talked about, what do you think is one of the biggest, most dangerous financial risks a leader faces right at this final stage? It's this: under-budgeting your initial food and beverage inventory. This one mistake can have absolutely catastrophic consequences. It can either force you to delay your grand opening, which is incredibly expensive,
Or, even worse, it can force you to buy cheaper, inferior products, damaging your brand and reputation before you even launch.
And beyond just tracking, you also have to lay the accounting groundwork for the future. You'll work closely with your controller to assign the correct general ledger, or GL, codes to every single purchase. I know this part might seem a little tedious, but trust me, getting it right now ensures accurate financial reporting for years to come, long after opening day is just a memory. So let's wrap this up by looking at the big picture. This whole process, it's not just about numbers on a spreadsheet. It's about earning the trust of the hotel owners and your senior leadership. It's about earning the right to execute your vision. What you're demonstrating through all of these steps is something called financial discipline. As students of Europe Hotel School, this idea is an essential part of your education. It's the tangible proof that you can manage valuable resources strategically, responsibly, and effectively. And I want you to remember this. Once your final variance report is accepted and that budget gets signed off, it becomes so much more than a plan. It becomes your financial mandate. It is the official authorization from the top that says, "We trust you. Now go and deliver." Look, this process is demanding. It requires a real shift in your professional identity from planner to leader. But mastering it is what sets the great ones apart. So the question you have to ask yourself now is, are you ready to be the gatekeeper?